So if I pause that one, I can close that, keep that up. Right, awesome. Let's continue. Whoa, that was a bit fast. Okay, so where was I? Preview, yep. Okay, so the next thing I want to create, so I'll start with the terminal screen. So I need to load up Maya. Need to get a reference. I deleted everything, didn't I? And I'll go with, I don't know, 400 by 300. Why not? Whenever Maya decides it wants to load. Oh, there it is. Okay. God, it's going slow. Turn my grid back on. Okay, so I'm going to start with a primitive, just a cube. Come into this attributes editor. I'm going to go with 400, and I'll go with 5 and 350. See how that looks. Too big. 200. 250. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, we'll turn on shader mode. And that's our starting point. Not a bad starting point. Let's assign a material. Assign a new material. Give it a blend, why not? Screen glass. Color white. Transparency. Almost fully transparent because it's glass. There we go. Perfect. Next I want... I'll have one of these. I'll just scale it up manually like that. I want to select all those faces and delete them. Right, perfect. Come back into object mode. I can just lift it up a bit, see what I'm doing. Turn the grid off. Yep, that's perfect. Yep, I can live with that. No, I can't. I need vertex. That one. That one. Just need to clamp those in. Now it's perfect. Okay, so coming out the back, I'm going to have a tube. And I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees. Nope. It's this one. Just going to extend up like that. Move this along. squash it in. Doesn't need to be too thick. And I want it to be a sort of ovalish shape. Perfect. Bring that back up. And I can do something like that. Now that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Then I'm going to create 2 more of these. Just extend them out. Okay. Flatten that. Stretch it out. Flatten that. How's that look? We'll find out in a second. Put that up there. Pull it back. Stretch it out. Might need to give it some more subdivisions, so let's go with 5. Let's make it smoother. Rotate it, and we'll pull those in, pull that back down, make that a bit thinner. Center that. That looks good enough. So we'll just Control D that. Give it its own rotation. Mesh, combine. There we go. So now we have something like that. And then one more polysurface cylinder. Seems to be my tool of choice tonight. That's going to hold that there like so. Just to give it more of a effect, I'm going to do something like that. Perfect. That and that now need a slight rotation to face up. And I need to Control Z that. Those need to be grouped, and then I can give them the slight rotation. Display, window, outliner. And let's move that forward. That's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Don't want that to be too much of a focus, so we'll make it a bit smaller. Drop its height down as well. Okay. So we have that now, and I'm going to assign a new material to that. It's going to be a Lambert. I need to go find it. It's going to be the base, and I'm just going to set its color to black. What I am going to do is I'm going to come into mesh, I'm going to set an edge loop around there. Then I'm going to object mode. I'm going to solo this. Yep. While I select that vertex. God damn it. So it's those two. Yeah. So I need to come back into object mode, select that, solo it, vertex, I need that one and that one. So I can create a bend like so. And where's my edge loop? I'm going to insert another 2 edge loops. So let's insert one there and one there. And then come back into vertex, selection, take those and those and bring them in. I'll extend these ones out just a tiny little bit because of where they are on the map. Back into vertex. That one there. I'm going to have to pick an edge. Where's my edges? I have to pick this edge and pull it in like so. Because I didn't put this one centered, it needs to be in the middle. Then I can pull this one in as well. Grab these vertices, pull these back out. A little bit more. There we go. And grab these and do the same over here. Those are looking good. Yep. Okay, so I want that one, that one, that one, and that one. I can pull these in like so. Not that far, come on now. Yep, that looks about right. And then back into object mode, just so I can select this and solo it. Grab that, and pull those out. Turn solo off. And there we have it. Now if we select these faces, I can choose that one, that one, that one, and that one. And then that one, that one, that one, that one. And we're going to assign a new material. It can also just be a Lambert. Call it base holder. And it's also going to be black. Awesome. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to take all these using a tool. Just move that. Let's get the top-down view. Then I want these, and these. That should select everything else. Great. So new material, anisotropic. Just call the material pole. Raise up its color a bit. Give it a little bit of incandescence. Actually, no, we'll lower down its color. Give it some incandescence. There we go. I'm not really too bothered about how these ones look in here, so get the pole to work on there as well. And the pole on there as well. And then 4 more of these. These are just purely for decoration. So, make these small, like very small. And mock them into place. Like so. Then we just push them in. Assign as material. We use base holder. Control D. Move it down. Take both of these, Control D, slide them across. Slide them in. They're not perfectly, well, they're not perfect, but they'll do. So now we have that. And they will do perfectly for what I want to do with this. Maybe make the screen a bit thinner. It's a little bit thick. There we go. Perfect. Okay then. So now I want to turn my grid back on. Select everything to the right view. Stop that there. I'm going to put the base for it. There. Perfect. Now I want to go File, Export the selection, sci-fi interior, terminal. Export selection, then I can minimize that. Minimize that as well. Come into my meshes folder, and we're just going to get some stuff going on in here. So, nope, documents, Maya exports, sci-fi interior, terminal. I also need to fix that wall. I can fix that at a later date. Come on. There we go. Don't import materials. Sorted. I can apparently create sockets from here. Let's just auto convex this. This is going to take a while, so while that's doing that, I'm going to have a drink. Well, that didn't actually take as long as I thought it was going to. Okay, perfect. Right, so now I need to highlight this. And yes, I know I could have just used the texture map, but I do it like this so that when it comes to using certain things, I can just change them up, like the colours and what have you. So the next item on my list is what? I don't know. I can't tell. It's something somewhere. Just set that and find out. Those didn't export properly. Gonna have to sort that out. And I'm just gonna have to re-import that mesh. I'm just gonna clear that because I don't know what that is. No, that can be copper for now, until I go through and make materials for it. And it looks like this is crashing on me. Nope, we're good. And that's my screen, so that just wants to be glass. And I'll use sci-fi glass. And save this. Close this. Yep, that's fine. Save that as well, just in case we have a crash. Save everything. I'm just going to throw this into my world. It's going to need some major rescaling, but oh no, it's not looking too bad. Let's have a look at the back. Yeah, that's going to need some major re-importing. So let's fix that. That, and that all. Let me just click on that. Need to go inward, like so. And I do want them to stick out a little bit. There we go. Now just re-export to terminal. Yep, perfect. Come back into Unreal Engine and just re-import. we're good to go. Just save that. That's looking golden. I'm loving that. Scale it down to the actual size that I wanted. We're good to go. And yes, there was a reason I was doing this. And that reason was to play back with the new web AI, or the new web plugin. I'm just going to put this over here somewhere. And right quick, I'm just going to make a quick table. So I'm going to save the scene as... Actually, I have no idea where I saved that. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Maya exports, yep, that's all fine. Right, delete everything. Let's create a table. Move the outliner out of the way. Attributes editor. Width 500. Height 200. Depth 50. Nope. 15. Perfect. It's going to be my table. And no, it's not just going to hover. I'm going to move that to my other screen while I do this. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to come into here. I want to add some subdivisions. So I'm just going to go with say, nope, wrong way. I'm going to say no. That'll do. Actually, no. Pull it back down to 50 because it's way too long. Right, next I'm going to come down to animation. I'm going to find it. It's there. Create a deformer. Non-linear. I don't want to bend. I'm going to rotate this deformer to be 90 degrees. And if I take this and I start playing with the curvature, we should... Perfect. That does what I want it to do. However, it's on the wrong axis. Set U to 90 as well. Start playing with the curvature again. Let's move this bend handle. Display, turn the grid off. Okay, so we group that. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. like so. Let's rotate this on its own so that it's straight. There we go. That's what I wanted. Perfect. Now if I take this and I duplicate the entire group, it's this one I want. There we go. And that is literally all I wanted for my desk. Something simple. Back into polygons, mesh, combine. And I'm going to edit mesh. I'm going to add 2 edge loops. They're going to span all the way around. Put one there and one there. Then up here, I need to put one there and one there. And then I can come into faces. Going to pick all of these faces. All the way around. Because I have nothing better to do. This is quite a high poly asset for what it's supposed to be. Oops. That's fine. The next thing I'm going to make is going to be stupidly high poly. Okay, so let's assign an existing material and call it base. That's going to be a problem. Or maybe not. Not going to lie, expect it to be more of a problem than that. That's pretty perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to select these. Nope, want object mode. Select both of those. Nope, file. And I'm going to export my selection. going to call it table, because why not? And pull in my table. So we have the table in here now. Let's see. Imported without its materials. Should have an auto-generated. Yeah. So to go through all this. Okay. So we have this, which I'm just going to use floor base inst 1. And this one I'm going to use emissive seal instance 1. And I'm going to save that. I can close out of that now. Just drop this into my world. Scale it down as necessary, which it is necessary. And I'm going to have to play around with that emissiveness. Just turn off grid snapping for now. Turn it back on. And then I'm going to move that back there. Okay. I need to come into here. Let's tone down that emissive tip. Much better. Oh, much better. I can see again. Right, let's see how that looks in game. Can't really see the hard work I put into that, but you sort of get an idea. Perfect. Right, so now for my next task. I need to make sure I save all this because I don't want it to break on me. So now for my next task, I'm going to come into here. Screw it. I'm going to create a new folder and call it UIs. I'm going to create a new interface. I'm going to call this basic web browser because I'm going to reference this later on. Then I'm going to throw myself into here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new canvas within the canvas. So a new canvas panel within the canvas panel. I'm going to anchor it to the center. Just going to stretch it out like so. And you'll see why in a minute. So we stretch it out like so. Yep, that's fine there. It's fine there. And then inside here, I'm going to come to my... Oh, I don't have it. Need to save that. Close this. Into settings. Nope. Plugins. I'm just going to enable some of these. Don't need any analytics. Let's put that on. Right, let's put that on. Yep, that's fine. Don't need that. I don't need the plugin creator just yet. Gameplay. Steam VR, media players. Media players are fine. Miscellaneous. Right, widgets. I'm just going to disable all the VR because I'm not going to be using it. Custom mesh components, procedural mesh component, programming. Yep, that's fine. And I'm just going to enable the networking plugin and then restart. Save selected. We should be good to go. Should be. All those errors. So many errors. But they're fine. Oh, what the hell's going on there? Okay then. Not too sure what happened there. Not too sure at all what happened there. So instead, we'll just do that. There you get the same effect. Perfect. Golden. There you get the same effect that I wanted. Yep, that's fine. I'll put a little light behind it. Let's see. Let's put a small little point light behind it. Just to illuminate it. Get the intensity down to say 500. Continuation radius down to 100. And just pull this forward. I'm going to make that glass more visible, I think. Let's see, it's running an instance. No, it's not. Do I even have an instance of that? Materials, sci-fi glass. No, I don't. So I'm just going to use the half glass instance. There we go. Oh, that's much better. Much better. Save all that. Okay, come back into my blueprints, UIs, and the UI I was building. So what I want to do now is come into experimental and drop in a web browser UI. I'm going to have this anchored to stretch the entire screen. And I'm going to leave it with some overhang. Just because I'm going for a glassy effect. Then in common, I'm going to add a text block. I'm going to anchor this just to the top. And some space over on that end. Center that. Actually, I'm going to anchor that to that side. Now I want a text box. I need to leave some space over there as well. Yep, that's fine. I'm going to add a couple of buttons. So the first button, throw in some text, change the text to an X. As you guessed it, it's for closing it. Grab the second button, grab some text, just press the minus key for minimizing. I'm going to make them a bit bigger. I'm eventually going to go through and make my own buttons. And then the third button, just going to span that entire thing, because why not? Add some text. Our text is just going to say go. Just like that. So now for compile, and save the web browser. Take you. I'm going to create a blueprint out of you. Blueprints. Yeah. I'm going to call it terminal BP. Just create that blueprint. And then I can come into here to my event graph. Nope. First off, I need to add a widget. So let's add in my own little widget. I'm going to call this web browser. In the world, UI class is going to be web browser. When I find it, basic web browser. I need to change some settings on here, so 1280. Nope. 1920 by 1080. Then we get this nice big web browser. Scale it down to something much more manageable. Move that up to the center. I can rotate it like that. Turn off grid snapping just for a second, just so I can pull that off there. And there we go. So now we have that, which will actually do something in game if we give this a initial URL like google.com. Compile, save, and play. Should load it up. Yep. Loads it up perfectly. Bearing in mind that screen's now way too big. There we go. That's much more manageable. Now the best thing about this is I can come through and through the terminal blueprint. I can add in a box collision. Let's just scale up this box collision now, like so. I'll scale it out a little bit. Okay, it doesn't need to be that big. Or maybe it does, I don't know. Yeah, it can be that big, why not? No, that's way too big. I'll have it that big. So when you're nice and close. There we go. Perfect. Save that. And now from this box collision, going to add an event on a begin overlap, on an end overlap. Perfect. So on a begin overlap, I want to set the input to gaming UI. Now on an end, I want to set input to game only. And then I need to get this. I need to get the user widget object. Just move that back. Throw that in there. And I need to get my player controller. So if I just move these down, I can put my player controller under there. Now that should allow me to access the terminal, which admittedly it's a little bit hard to see. Because it's so small right now. Let's just see. We'll do a search for me. Oh look, there's my live stream. Aww. Anyway. So, that kind of works. But it's not what we want. So, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to add another button. And this button is going to stretch out to about there. It's going to be in line with the others. And it's going to say text. To viewport. But I actually want to bind that text. And I want to create a variable. So, is viewport. Get. And we'll branch it. Promote that to a variable. Call it return text, and we'll set it over here. So if viewport is true, do that. If it's false, do that. And go off viewport. To viewport. Now, admittedly, this is a little bit buggy. I was playing around with this earlier, and it is quite buggy. But yeah, so now I want to come into here. it doesn't bloody anchor any of these. Anchor those there. Okay, so I need to bind this text as well. So this text is going to be web browser get. It's just a lot simpler if I do it like this. Widget. Not web browser. Get title text. Just return that. Compile, save. Back into the designer. Unpressed. Web browser get. Load URL. And there we go. Now there's that. At the same time, next thing I want to do is on text committed. Utilities, enum, no, flow control switch on committed. There we go. So on enter, do that. Just do it like this. On enter, do this, like so, and there's the target. There we go. So if I compile that, no, there's the target. Oh, yeah, of course. There we go. Now there's the target. So now I can browse through websites. Next thing I want to add in, those won't do anything just yet. I want to add the to viewport button. So on clicked, I want to get you, I need to branch. And then I also need to set you. So set. I wonder if there's a flip. No, there isn't. So we'll just set it like that. If it's false, it's true. If it's true, it's false. Sorted. Now I know for a fact this is going to give me some major grief. A lot of problems are going to happen with this. For example, that. So now it's gone completely. I have no idea how I'm going to set that up. So I'm probably not going to bother. Just disable the button altogether. Minimize isn't going to do anything. Unclicked. Load URL. About blank. Set input mode to game only. Get player controller. Just throw that there. Just throw in this web browser once again. Compile and save. Play. So now we have this web browser going. I can do something like youtube.com right there. That works pretty well. And it allows me to swap back whenever I need to. I could also always just like leave the area. But who'd want to do that? Okay, so that actually works pretty well as well. Tells me what I'm watching up there. Now there is actually a purpose for this. There's a reason I wanted to get this set up. The reason for that is, I'm going to come over to my web design side of things now. And that side of things is going to be a long, strenuous task. Ow. My ear hurts. Quite a lot, actually. Oh. Wow. Awesome. Right. So I'm kind of happy I have that set up now. In a way that I can actually use it. However, I do want to make it bigger. Because I find that screen is just too small. That colour, I can't. Doesn't do well with whites. Might actually have something to do with this. Let's see. Let's just tone these down. Your attenuation radius. Yeah, you're encompassing this entire area. So if I play it now, I've toned down the colour a lot. Yeah, see, it doesn't do too well with whites. You can't really see what you're doing. But you can sort of see it a little bit better now. Let me just... Just gonna put that into the floor. I don't mind. It's my own game, my own level. That's actually a lot easier to use. Also, the reason I made that glass is because from behind here, you can't see the screen, which is exactly the effect I wanted. Gives it a sort of sci-fi transparency feel, and with everything being transparent on the screen itself. Okay, so web design side of things now. I'm going to, I'll use Dreamweaver. And just make sure I save that first. And I don't know what's going on with this now. Try that. No. Oh well. File. New. This one a blank HTML document. Just flick straight into code. And title's going to be media player. Min width 960 px. Min width 960 px. Margin left auto. Margin right auto. H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, P. I'm just going to save this under aspect. No? I want. I'm just going to save it on my C drive. And a test site. Index.html. I already know that if I run this, I'm not going to be able to see a goddamn thing because I haven't actually printed anything out. So now if I do that and run F12, I still can't see anything because it's all white. But you get that. Perfect. So yeah. So the next thing I want to do is look for a widget. Let's see. To list all files in a directory using JavaScript. I also want to do something like this. So I can save that, press F12 to view it. Yeah. Then if I do this. No, that's not going to work the way I want it to. Yep, this is going to be a lot of you looking at that screen. So you can look at that one instead. I have a message.